Okay, 77b, 87 on the base. Continuing the discussions about direct versus indirect damage, direct death. So execution, indirect death. Hashem will take care of you. So Amar Rava, Stimin Sulam Tris Simonim Bekosal, 4 cases. Amar Rava says, Dachvu Labor, you push someone into a pit, and in the pit happens to be a ladder. The Sulam Bebor. Except someone else came and removed the ladder. Uba'achar v'silko. And even if you yourself, you the pusher, the guy that pushed him into the bore, you went and you removed the ladder, you're still exempt from capital punishment. Why? When you pushed him in, he was able to get out of there. At the time you pushed him in, was there a ladder? There was a ladder. Happens to be now the ladder is gone. But that's not called direct death. That's still called indirect. So it's interesting. You shoot an arrow at somebody, and the guy's holding a shield. Someone else comes and takes away the shield. And even if you, Speedy Gonzalez, shoot an arrow, run, and take the guy's shield away, you take the guy's shield away, and now the arrow hits him. So you're also putter. You're exempt. Why? From when you shot it, so the arrow was going to go in and hit him. Now that sorry, it was not going to hit him. It was going to stop with the shield. Thank you. Yeah, it was going to stop with the shield. So therefore, you are exempt. Ve'amar Rava, another Rava. Zarak bo chet, and the guy has a potion. He has his I don't know what's an extreme example of Tylenol or Advil, a potion that heals wounds. I don't know, maybe his first aid kit on him. So yeah, that's a good example. The first aid kit for or his CPR buddy next to him. He has the potion, the healing potion in his hands. Some other guy, really not nice friends this guy has, came and spilled the potion. Even if you ran, you the pusher ran and spilled out his potion, putter, you are exempt. Why? So at the time where you shot the arrow at him, he was able to get healed. Afterwards, it got spilled. Now I'm assuming this got spilled even before the arrow hit him, right? We go at the time of release, the time of the shot. So a guy shoots a bullet at somebody. He shoots a bullet at somebody. The time that he shoots it, the guy is able to defend himself. Whatever has me, his bulletproof vest, and then the vest gets taken off. Mid bullet with the bullet in midair, whatever the modern day example would be. Yeah. So either way, you go after the time of where you shoot the arrow. So now Amar Rashi, in extension of this novelty, that as long as at the time that you did something, he was able to heal himself, even if afterwards things change, you're exempt. What if there was a potion in the marketplace? So Walgreens had what you needed. They had a first aid kit. So that means even at the time where the arrow was shot, you could have healed yourself. You go to Walgreens and buy yourself the first aid kit. So afilu samanim b'shuk. Even if you have the samanim and the shuk in the marketplace, the guy's still going to be exempt. What happens after he gets hit? There's an availability for the or I guess after he shoots it. Now turn up this potion. It turns up. I don't know. I guess what's the case? After the guy gets hit, the guy gets hit with an arrow, and now all of a sudden, Amazon Prime delivers a first aid kit to his door, right? So they're always in tune with what we need, us customers. So then what happens? Sounds like you're going to be innocent because as long as before you went to court, the guy had a way to heal himself, so then you're okay. Even though it came after the wound. So you wounded a guy a fatal wound, but within an hour, Amazon Prime, you Amazon Primed him his own potion, right? So now the guy wants to take you to court and have you killed, but you'll tell him, sorry, you have a way to heal yourself. So that wasn't considered a deathly blow because you can heal yourself after. Hey, Jules, did you ever play off the wall as a kid? You throw the ball at the wall, and the other guy runs to the wall?
No, we
No.
played handball, but
Handball. Okay, this is similar. Va'amarava zarak tzror bekosel. You threw a stone. Now, it's a little hard for me to imagine because not that you threw a rock at a stone at a wall. That's easy to imagine. But the stone bounces back. I don't know why. I have a hard time. I feel like a stone hits a wall, it just falls right down. Certain stones that bounce back.
we bounded.
A baseball, a tennis ball, I understand.
I guess the guy was standing right on
Yes,
the
we're gonna
top
talk
of
about-
the wall.
We're going to differentiate in a second between the guy standing within 4 amos of the wall and past 4 amos. But what stone goes in the wall and then it goes back 7, 8 feet?
Not too much.
Not too many. Yeah, that's I don't know. Maybe it's a different kind of wall. I don't know. Yeah. But either way, there's some kind of a pebble, a stone, a rock, something. You throw it at a wall and it bounces back. The harga, and now it kills somebody. And it kills the guy that so chayiv. So a person is liable. And Rashi adds in that you had intention to kill the guy. It wasn't just in general, you're shooting the breeze. You had intention to kill him. You threw it at the wall, and you killed him. Now, the novelty of this is that there's something called kocho. Kocho means it came from your own strength, right? So you understand if I throw a rock at someone straight, the rock came from where? My initial thrust, right? The novelty here is even when it bounced off the wall, you don't consider the wall a second thrust. Kocho de kocho. It's still considered that it came from me. If you consider like a secondary force, hit the guy, that's called grama. That's already indirect causation. So there's the primary force and then there's the indirect force. And then there's a secondary force. Kocho and kocho de kocho.
No, but you think when you throw a stone at a wall,
Yeah.
you tend to think you're throwing straight.
Okay.
If you come at an angle, you've got a better chance of going behind.
It nips off the wall and then hits the guy. That's
You've got a
interesting.
better chance for ricochet.
A ricochet. Oh, that's a good word. Ricochet. Thank you. Ricochet. Here we go. So Bamrav is a zarts over kosel v'chazar and it ricochets off the wall la'achore the harga chayiv and it kills the guy and you intended to kill him. That's still considered it came from you. It's your koach, your strength, and you are chayiv.
Then switch to playing ball.
Oh, soon, right now. Next line. Yeah, very good. Jules always one step ahead. So the Tana Tuna. So similar to the Brisa talk, you go in Elu Hamesachkin Bekadar, right? Those that are playing ball, okay, much easier to imagine. Shahargu b'mezid, that kill b'mezid. So I don't know if the game started as like a Russian roulette game or it ended up a Russian roulette game, but you're throwing the ball at the wall and you want to kill the guy. So you whip it off the wall, shargu b'mezid, neharag, and if you do it b'mezid advertently, on purpose, then the person's liable for death. B'shogeg golan, if you kill them inadvertently, then you're chayiv to go to galus, get exiled. So now, b'shogeg golan pshita, that's obvious. If you do it inadvertently, you get galus. There's no novelty in that. B'mezid neharag is a novelty. If you do it advertently on purpose and you get killed, what's the novelty? It's strichle b'mahu detema hasra safeki miyema dehadra kamash malot. So we know to get killed, you have to get hasra, you have to get warned. And there's a machlokas coming up at some point later. There's 2 opinions about hasra safek. You warn a guy about something that might happen. So in this case, right, if the ball bounces off the wall and you end up killing him, then you will get killed, right? So now you would have thought that that's considered a hasra, a warning, which is out of doubt, because who says the ball is going to go back and kill the guy? So therefore, if that would be true, that it would be a warning out of doubt. So at least according to one opinion, that's not a sufficient warning that would that would enable you to execute the person. Kamash Malan, sounds like Kamash Malan, that we don't assume it's a hasra safek. The ball is most likely to bounce back and kill him, and therefore when you warn the guy, if you whip the ball, if you play off the wall too intensely, and you whip the ball off the wall, and you kill him, we're going to kill you. That warning is considered a sufficient warning that then if the guy says, I don't care, I'm doing it anyways, and he does it, and then kills the guy, then he's liable for death.
There was an Aztec or an Inca game.
There was a?
Aztec or an Inca all
Yeah.
that, which we wouldn't call a game, because that was lethal.
Well,
Oh, the Yankees played a game with the stones and balls.
That is very heavy. I'm not sure what the ball was actually made of. It might have been some kind of a rubber, heavy rubber. And I don't know if they used the wall, but
It's interesting.
yeah,
it was a kind of ball.
right. Okay, so let's see. Pani Rav Tachlifa, Bar Marava, Rav Tachlifa, the son of Marava. Interesting. Marava usually means Eretz Yisrael, son of the West. So, okay.
Yeah.
I guess it was very Zionistic parents, yeah. So, Kamei Rabbi Abo. So, he said this over in front of Rabbi Abo, Kigon Elu Hamesachkin Bekadr. Like these that play ball. And now he adds this Shahargu Toch Arba Amos if they kill somebody standing within 4 Amos. Let's call it 6 feet. Those people are you're exempt for killing them. If you throw it and it goes past 6 feet, chutz la'arba amos chayiv, and the ball goes much farther than 6 feet, you have a really good arm. Those you're chayiv. Those you're liable for. So, where are you going to draw this distinction? Because Amalei Rabbeinu Ravashi, hey chidam, what's the case? Idika nichale, you wanted to kill somebody, then anybody you kill, you're liable for. And if you didn't want to kill somebody, then even if it goes past 6 feet and kills him, you're not liable for it. So where are you going to draw this distinction of 4 amos? Within 4 amos, you're exempt, and past 4 amos, you're liable.
Unless you take measure.
Oh, if you want, it's good for you to kill the guy. You want to kill the guy. You hate his guts. Then even 2 feet, you're going to be liable. You're playing an innocent game of ball. Then I feel tu v'nami lo. Then even if he's 10 feet away and you kill him, you're still not going to be liable. So what's the case? Amrle stam mesakin bekadr. Regular people that play ball. So menach nichale. So kama da'ayli tfei menach nichale. Meaning, one second. You want the ball to go as far as possible, right? The farther the ball ricochets off the wall, the better it is for you. So really, without knowing the guy's intention, really, regular game, you assume he's trying to throw it as far as he could. So that's what we're saying. If you don't know, so you assume regular people playing off the wall want the ball to go as far as possible. And therefore, if you intended to kill, so then we assume that you intended to kill the guy that was 10 feet back. But the guy that's standing right next to the wall, he was never on your radar to kill, and therefore you're going to be exempt. Oh, okay. Lememra, is this to say? This is the line that we need. Gavna kochohu. Ricocheting off the wall is not considered a strength from your strength, meaning it's considered your own thrust, even though you threw it and then it ricocheted off the wall. So you could have said that 2 things are happening here: the initial force of when the ball left my hand, and then the secondary force when the ball left the wall. But if that would be true, that's called indirect causation. But here we see that even though it ricochets off the wall, it's still considered like it's coming from your initial thrust. Now the Gemara is going to ask 2 questions in totally different areas of Torah. That when you have something that ricochets or falls off something else, we're going to see that it's you're going to be exempt or it's not going to work. Sounds like if it hits something else and then goes into your intended whatever it's going to be, that's going to be considered a secondary thrust, not your initial thrust. So where's this case? So Uramini, we have a question from. We know that to purify somebody from the impurity of death, tumas meis, you have to have a red heifer or a red fire engine. Oh, perfect. So you have to have a red heifer, and you have to take the ashes and put it directly into water. So now, what if you didn't put it directly into the water, but ended up hitting off of the cup, the top of the cup, and then bounced in, or it went off your hand and then fell in? Is that considered like your initial thrust, your initial putting in, or because it fell off something else, that's already considered like a secondary thrust, a secondary force? So let's see. Vermini hamakadosh v'nafal kiddush al yado o al hatzad v'achar kach nafal le. The shukas, I don't know if it's a shin or a sim. to your cup of water, to your bucket of water that you're using for paraduma. So you have this this what they call the mechatas, the water that you're using to purify the guy who's tamei mace, and you have to put the ashes into the water. That's called sanctifying it. That's called kiddush. Once you do that, then you could sprinkle that onto the guy, and he's going to be purified. Now, yeah. So now, what happened is these ashes, the ashes you're putting in, instead of putting it straight in, they ended up falling off, and they hit your hand and fell into the cup, or they even hit the side of the cup and then fell in. And now, what do we say? That's invalid. That's invalid. You need to put the ashes directly into the cup. But this didn't go directly into the cup. It fell off, hit your other hand, and then went into the cup. So that seems like it's considered a secondary force, not an initial force. But how can you say that? We just said if I throw a ball off of a wall, the ricochet off the wall is not considered a secondary force. And yet, the putting it in, ricocheting off my hand into the cup, or ricocheting off the side of the cup into the cup, is considered a secondary force.
In the first place, you intended to hit it against the wall. Here, you didn't intend for it to get hit
Okay.
in the hand, fall down.
Okay. Your intention can change if there's one force or two forces?
Original intention. Whatever.
I hear. Okay. Yeah, but just in general, I think the general question, when you throw something off a wall, when it left my hand, there was a certain force that it left with. Now it hit the wall.
Mm-hmm.
When it bounced off that wall, so is that a second force? It is different a little bit, different speeds. It's not as fast when I threw it. Or is that still the initial force? So, says the Gemara, Halchamaya skinon be shoses. So the case here happens to be not where it splattered off off your hand into the cup. Rather, it was actually dripping. It was dripping down. Since it was dripping down, right, so it never came off of your own force. Rather, it was just on its own. It sounds like it went and dripped on its own into the cup. So it wasn't from your force. The case is, it says it's b'shoses. B'shoses, I think, is to flow down, no? That's what it shows us, to drip down, no? Yeah, what's the next line?
What are we doing?
Dripping, it drips down, yeah. So it drips on its own, so it's not coming from your force, spurted. So rather, it drips on its own, and therefore you can't bring a proof if that's considered an initial force or a secondary force. Okay. Yeah. Tashma, macha chayanesuna alacheres, the hizalah. So you have this needle that was on a earthenware jug, earthenware. So now the hizalah. So now it became impure, but you're not sure where the impurity went onto. So how did it become impure? Something splattered on it that was impure. So safek ala machat hazeh, safek ala cheres hazeh. You're not sure if it went onto the needle or it went onto the earthenware item. Umitza Allah hazaso, and now the hazah, the mechatas, the purity water that you're using to purify, right? Umitza Allah hazaso, it's splattered onto it, so that's puzzle. So it went from this earthenware vessel, and then it went and splattered onto the needle. Is that considered purifying it? The answer is no, because you have to put it purified directly onto the needle. You can't purify it by splattering off of the vessel onto the needle. You yourself have to go and sprinkle it on. So you see from here again, secondary force is not considered direct force from you. It's a secondary force, and therefore your attempt to purify this item is not going to work. So that'd be a big question on us. On the earlier statement, Amar Rav Chanina bar Yehuda, no, matzah itmar, not matzu like sprinkling, like it splattered off of it. Rather mitzia, like you found it, meaning you ended up finding this purity water on the needle, and you're not sure how it got there. Was it directly thrown onto the needle, or did it come from the earthenware vessel then onto the needle? So that's the case, but it's not a case where you yourself splattered anything. It was found that way, and now you're not sure is it pure or is it impure. Okay. So we remain with our conclusion that the off the wall still is considered kocho, a primary force, and not a secondary force.
So the splatter is not a primary source?
Well, we can't bring up proof from here because it wasn't a case of splattering.
Tripping.
Yeah, there's no proof from there because it was a case of where it was found. And, yeah, so shotet is on its own. That it's spilled on its own. So there's no question from over there to us. But yeah, it sounds like
so intentions may matter.
Intentions may matter, and off the wall is considered a primary force, not a secondary force.
The kids off the wall is primary.
Primary, that's right.
The game of horse.
That's right. Again,
The problem here with all this stuff, they're overthinking everything.
why? You say it's too much, yeah.
Not just just think that way.
All right. The question is, would you tell your heart surgeon that he's overthinking it also? Right? Listen, don't focus on details. It's just the heart, right? So it's the same thing. The word of God is no less important than your heart surgeon. You have to know. Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. So, especially if you're a seamstress and now your needle, you're married to a Kohen, and now your needle got tummy, and you're married to a Kohen, you have truma apple juice right next to you, and now the needle got tummy. You're not sure what to do. So now it's your only needle. So your whole life is on the line. So Amar Papa, hi man, okay, back to the exciting parts. Yeah, you go and you take a guy and you tie him up. Now, so you tie the guy up. He wasn't acting well at work, and this is already his third warning. And now you punished him by tying him up. Not only that, but there was water coming, and you directed the water right at him. So the Ashkeleha Bitka Demaya. So that's considered girei didehu umechayev. That's considered it's like your own force, literally means your own arrows. The same way an arrow, when you shoot at somebody, comes from your force. So too, this is like your arrow shooting at him, meaning the water. You didn't throw the water, right? You just directed the water, but we attribute the water to you. It's you who caused the water to go on him. So you don't say, well, he just turned the water, and now the water on its own ended up drowning the guy. No, you don't say that. You say that's like his arrow. You don't say, well, he just pulled it. The arrow flew on its own, right? You don't say that. That you're liable to consider his own thrust, his own force. Okay. So now, hani mili b'koach rishon. That's only if it's the initial thrust, the initial force. Aval b'koach sheni, if it's a secondary force, that's considered grama ba'alma. So what's an example of koach sheni? Rashi says is that, let's say the water wasn't going directly on him, but half a mile away, you directed the water, and after 20, 30 minutes, it ended up going down onto him. So Rashi says that you put it some far distance away, rachok tzas. So the water didn't fall straight on him when it left its hose or its fire hydrant, but after some time, it ended up going on him. So that's considered grama. So it would seem from here, and if you know each case has its own rules, but it would seem from here that time does matter, meaning time does make something grama, right? The water didn't go directly on him. It took a few minutes. Now, how much is rachel ktsas? A little far away. Okay, that I don't know. That we have to know how much that is, but unless you'll say no, maybe time doesn't make a difference. The difference is here, the water didn't go straight on him. It first hit the ground and then went on him. When it was far away, just means maybe it first hit something else and then went onto him. Okay, so you have to know. Fine. So The Amar of Papa Zarak Tzror Lamala. You throw a stone Lamala up in the air. The Holchel Etstadim. So apparently, what goes up must come down, right? So yeah, the Gemara is going with that assumption. So this time, when you threw it, it goes to the sides though. It goes Litstadim, to the sides, and now the Harga Chaya, and it kills somebody. That you're liable for. So you throw something up in the air, you throw a stone, and it goes to the side and ends up hitting somebody. Chayev, liable. Amrle Marbar Avashilur Papa, my time, why are you liable? Mishum de Kochohu. Because it's considered like it's from your own force, right? Even though, it went up and then to the side. So, right, you didn't cause it to go down. You only caused it to go up. So once again, is that considered two things? What was it? Segresha, yeah, you automatic. Also, now let's see. So now, says the Gemara, hold on. You want to consider something that thrown in the air, your own force, e kocho, so then teza le'el. If it's your own force, it should have gone straight up. Why to go to the side? So it sounds like you threw it up and then it went to the side. So maybe that going to the side is the wind. So if it was your own force and you were aiming up, it should have gone up. Why did it go to the side? The ilav kochon, if it wasn't your own force, so then it should have gone nowhere. It should have just fallen right down.
Lousy throw.
It was a lousy throw. Oh, Ella koach kachashu must be. It was your own strength, but it wasn't such a strong strength. Like you tried to throw it up, right? But it didn't go the way you wanted. It ended up going to the side. So yeah. So it's still considered though kocho. It's it was a weak throw, not such a good arm. You came after a day of pitching, and your arm's a little sore, so that's still considered your koach. However, your own force, your own strength. So So if you throw it up and it comes straight down, that's your own force. If you throw it up and it ends up going to the side, it was just a weak throw. If you throw it and it doesn't go anywhere, so then it wasn't really a throw. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So that's all about your primary strength and your secondary strength. I was thinking of you, Steve, yesterday. So Vansky, when he did this Gemara, he went outside his house to the big park outside his house with a potato launcher. And he shot it up, and he had his camera guys do it like, Coco? And he went to go catch the potato, whatever. I'll try to send it to you, but it was very funny. Okay. Taner Rabbanan Hiko, Asar B'nei Adam. So not the 10 sons of Haman, but 10 people. Asar B'nei Adam. You have 10 people. You can imagine a gang, and they're all hitting one guy, poor guy, maybe not poor guy, I don't know, probably a rich guy, that's why they're hitting him. And they're hitting him with their sticks. Basara makalos umace. So now, 10 guys cause the guy to die. Is each guy liable? Each guy exempt? Well, you definitely helped kill a guy. Okay, hold on. Is helping kill a guy what you're liable for? You're for sure going to pay for it in heaven. Don't worry about it. The next world's not going to be so pretty for you. But the question is, are you liable in this world to get killed? So, umakes Bain bebas achas. They all hit him at one shot, or Bain bezach or zeh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They take turns. The first opinion says Pturin, exempt. We'll see why. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseir Omer bezach or zeh ha'achron chayev. If you do one after another, the last guy is going to be liable. Interesting. Mipnei shekirev es misaso. At the end of the day, he brought his death closer, right? If that last guy wouldn't have hit him, he would not have died. So you're the guy who brought his death closer than it was supposed to be. Now, it seems like, interesting enough, logically, you wouldn't say the guy is liable. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, v'shneihem, both of these opinions are deriving it from a verse, which means logically, it sounds like you would be exempt. It's only because the verse tells you that you'd be liable. It sounds like that. So, says the verse, "V'ish kiyake kol nefesh." A person who hits somebody, talking about a guy who kills somebody, kol nefesh. So kol, all of his soul. So what does that mean? All of his life force. What does that mean? So kiyake kol nefesh adam. So now the rabbis hold, the first opinion is they hold you're exempt. Savri kol nefesh. You have to take out the guy's entire life, meaning you take out all of his. You have to kill him fully. Ad deika kol nefesh. You have to be responsible for his death fully. You can't just partially be responsible for his death. So if you're one of 10, you didn't fully take away his life. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Savar, no. Kol nefesh, kol dehu nefesh. Any little bit of life. Any little bit of life, and you're going to be liable for that. It's interesting. We had two cases. You hit him at once, or you hit him one after another. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, who says that one after another you're liable, or the last guy's liable, when you hit him all at once, he doesn't say you're liable. It's interesting. I don't know why. I mean, that's also considered taking some of his life.
Firing squad.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Why does he only comment on the second case and not on the first case? He only comments that you're liable on the second case where it's bezeh or zeh. But the first case where it's all at once, there Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira doesn't say anything.
Which one killed?
Yeah, it just hit me. I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
You can't pin your finger to the guy and say you killed him.
This is a classic one.
What is
Here. This what we're reading right now is a classic.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know who your friends are. No.
Oh no, I mean, I've learned before.
Right. Yes. Okay. So Amar Rava Hakol Modim Behoregas a Treifa. Okay, so now he has someone who's a treifa. Treifa means he has a certain vital injury. Either let's say one of his lungs, is punctured, or his brain is punctured in the brain. The point is that he's going to die within 12 months. At least by an animal, it's within 12 months.
Yeah.
I'm assuming by a human being, it's a fatal injury, which he's going to be dying in the near future.
It's like a few days.
Yeah, is it a few days?
Slave and live.
Right. Yeah, that's a few days. Okay, good point. By an animal, it's 12 months. Maybe by a person, it's much less. Okay, but the point is he has a fatal injury where he's going to die in the state that he's in right now. So now, someone goes and kills him. So, Hakol Modim, everyone agrees what Rava says, the person is exempt. Is exempt. Begoses, now, Begos b'dei Shemayim, someone who did something which is liable by the death of heaven, Shehu Chayiv. So there, you're liable. That everyone agrees to, says Rava. The machlokas is lo nechaku ella begoses b'dei adam. The guy has been executed to be killed, but he hasn't gone out and was killed yet. He's called a goses on death row. So that's a machlokas. Mar medamele letreifa. One opinion compares it to a treifa. Umar medamele legoses, and one compares it to a goses b'dei shemayim, to the guy who's on heavenly death row. So now. The one who compares a guy on death row with the court, he's compared to. Why did you compare it to a treifa, the guy who's fatally wounded, and not to the guy who's on heavenly death row? So it says the Gemara, very simple. Nothing physically happened to him. So I'd rather compare this case to a treifa where he had something happen to him. He was deathly wounded. So Hai is Ave Maisa. So too. So you have three cases: the guy that's liable for death in this world, the guy that's liable for death in in heavenly court, and the guy who happened to have a fatal brain injury. So the fatal brain injury, if you kill him, you're exempt. The guy in heaven, if you kill that guy, you're for sure liable. The guy that's on death row in this world, is he compared to the treifa, the guy who's fatally wounded, or compared to the guy on death row? So the first opinion said, I'll compare it to the treifa because they both had something happen to them. So what about the other opinion? The one who compares a guy on death row down here to the guy on heavenly death row, why did you not compare it to someone who's a treifa, who's a fatally wounded individual? So he says, treifa mechatche simonim, halo mechatche simonim. So a treifa, he's right now fatally wounded. His vital signs are cut, so to speak. He's going to die. Mm-hmm. So here, even the guy's on death row, but nothing physically happened to him yet. So therefore, I'd rather compare it to the other guy who's on heavenly death row, where he's not, in at least physically right now, there's no imminent death. I mean, he's going to get executed, but so it's just a matter of who you compare it to. What's more similar to you? Okay. So now, Tani Tana Kamed Rav Sheshes. So there was a following teaching that was taught in front of Rav Sheshes. So this is what I think we said a second ago, Jules. Oh no, that was by a servant. Never mind. So here you kill somebody. You kill somebody, but he doesn't have enough force to kill him, and then someone else comes and kills him. So you punch him, but the punch wasn't enough to kill him. Someone else comes and kills him. So shu chayiv. Ein bokei laham is pshita. Of course, if you kill him, 1 second. Yeah, of course, if you punch him, there wasn't enough there to kill him. Of course, you're not liable. That's pshita. Ela yesh bokei laham is uba'acher ve'emiso. Let's say you did punch him with enough force to kill him, and someone else comes and kills him that he sped it up. That's a novelty. Why? Because it teaches you that this brisa goes like the stomach Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, like the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira earlier, which said if 9 guys hit someone and the 10th guy kills him, the 10th guy is liable. So to here, if you fatally punch somebody, someone else comes and now speeds up his death. Right? Nowadays, God forbid someone's dying, and they're can you pull the plugs? Can you speed up their death? So according to Rabbi Dovid Gleizer, you can't. You can't speed up someone's death. The doctor said you have 5 months to live anyways. So they're on machines for 5 months. Then he can't. So how does that play into things? Amarava hahori is a treifa potter. You kill a treifa, you're potter. You kill someone who's fatally wounded, you are exempt. The treifa. Now, what if the guy who's fatally wounded, it's on his bucket list of things to do now that he only has a few days to live. He wants to go kill that neighbor of his, right? So now, the guy who's fatally wounded, the treifa, who kills somebody in front of Bezdin, so we kill him. He's liable. If he does it not in front of Bezdin, with witnesses and whatever else, then he's exempt. Why? Potter. So b'fnei Bezdin chayiv, in front of Bezdin, you're liable to kill the guy. Why? The Torah says ubiyarta harami kirbecha. You have to eradicate evil from your midst. This is an evil guy, so he's killing someone. You have to kill him. Shelo b'fnei Bezdin. If it's not b'fnei Bezdin, then it's potter. Why? Because it's called an eidos she'iyad hayachol lahazima. We know that there's a part of the Torah that's called the conspiring witnesses, right? But the only way testimony is good if it's a testimony that is able to be falsified. Right? Now, part of that section of the Torah says, if the witness is found to be a false witness, he will get the same punishment as the person he conspired to execute. However, this guy's a treifa. He's dying, right? And if 2 witnesses come and they say this Reuben the treifa, who's fatally wounded, killed somebody, so now he's already, so to speak, a dead man walking. So that means that the witnesses that came and conspired against him, so they cannot get what they tried to give to him, because to kill a treifa, you're not liable for. So we can't go and kill them. They tried to kill someone who's not really liable, and so therefore that's called the edus she'iyad hayachol lahazima lo shmei edus. Therefore, any testimony which cannot be get the punishment, that the witnesses can't get the punishment which they tried to give to somebody else, is not considered a valid testimony. Either it's learned out of a verse. I think Rashi holds it's learned out of a verse. I think others say it's learned out of logic. That we have to there's certain intimidation when you give testimony, that you have to know if you're found to be false witness, you'll get that same punishment. If you don't have that in front of you, then you might come to lie in your testimony. Either way, V'amarava harove as a treifa chayiv, one who sodomizes a treifa, you're liable. You're chayiv. You're liable. Treifa sharava b'fnei bezdin. Now the treifa himself, once again, he's already a dead man walking. So killing him, you're not liable for killing him, right? Because he's already going to die. So, but if he does something like sodomizing somebody in front of bezdin, that's really, that's not good. Yes, it's interesting, and you can't attribute his insanity to the fact that he's fatally wounded, right? Because then he'd be a shote, then you wouldn't be chayav for that. As opposed to nowadays, that every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets off the hook because they plead insanity, right? This guy has a fatal brain injury, and still we're going to kill him. Haroveh is a treifa chayiv. Treifa sharava b'fnei bezdin chayiv. If he sodomizes someone in front of the court, he's going to be liable. Shelo b'fnei bezdin, not in front of the court, then you're going to be patur. Why? B'fnei, in front of the court, chayiv. Why? B'fnei bezdin chayiv d'ksiv b'yat harami kirbecha. You have to eradicate evil from your midst. This is evil that's been happening. Shelo b'fnei bezdin. If it's not in front of bezdin, then he is exempt. Why? Same thing. The havila edus she because once again, the witnesses who conspire to get this treifa killed, we cannot give the witnesses the same punishment as we would give the treifa because he's not liable for death, and therefore they're not going to get punished by death. So if they can't get punished through the means of what they want to punish somebody else, then their testimony is not considered a valid testimony. So, okay. So now, hasulamali hainuhach. The same case twice over. You kill a guy in front of Bezdin, you sodomize him in front of Bezdin. Both times you have to kill the guy. You do it outside of Bezdin. Both times he's exempt. So why are you repeating yourself? Hainuhach, says the Gemara, no. Haroveya es a treifa, it's trichma. There's a certain novelty in the case of roveya es a treifa, of the guy who sodomizes the fatally wounded individual. Ma'u de tema lahave command mishamish meis v'lifter. If a person has relations with somebody who's dead, so then he's pater. So you would have thought that should apply to a dead man walking. That should also be pater. Kamash Malon. The novelty is that no, the reason why you're liable for this is because you got pleasure from it. Since you got pleasure from it, for that we kill you. The mishum hanahu, the ha is lehana. Having relations with the dead person, there's no hana. There's no pleasure. I mean, in your head you might get pleasure. That's why you're doing it. But physically, the way the organism works, that's not considered pleasure. However, this person at the end of the day, even though he's fatally wounded and he's on the verge of death, he still is alive right now, and therefore there is pleasure in that, and therefore you will still get killed for that. Okay, we'll stop here.
Ah.
That's right.